Nintendo Entertainment System. How time goes by. I still love the design. This 80s high-tech look like out of a science fiction movie. Straight lines, colors you find in a space shuttle cockpit, and controller ports that look like out of... Oh yeah, I forgot. This thing. Weirdly, this Switch was already there when I got this unit in 1987. And nope, it wasn't a used one, but a brand new one out of the store. At the time I didn't know what the Switch is about. I remember that my friend's one did not have it. Also in the styrofoam packing there was a piece cut out to make the console fit inside. Now today sure I know that this is a Switch to bypass the lockout chip that Nintendo used to region code their consoles in the time. But still somehow weird that the store sells a already region-free system. And why the heck must the Switch sit in the front in the middle of the console? Well, at least there still is a game inside, even it's not my favorite. And a key. Wonder what that was from. Taking this thing apart is quick and easy, just remove the Phillips screws. There you can see the white and yellow botch wire they used. So I removed the shielding here to see if I can make out where the cables are soldered to. Also if there is something remarkable that has to be cleaned. And yeah, without disassembling the unit I can already see that it's straightly hooked up to the lockout chip. So that mystery is solved once and for all. Now the case actually is in pretty good state. No scratches, no yellowing at all. So I will pass the step of Retrobritening here. I scrubbed the upper shell in some warm soapy water. If you look closely you can really see the coat of dirt coming off this thing. So I clean the contacts with some rubbing alcohol and some Q-tips. Also I carefully bended the contacts just a little bit to make better contact again. Unfortunately I forgot to record that, but it's pretty straightforward by using a flathead screwdriver. Just be very careful to not overbend them. While the motherboard is still installed, I only rub off the dust with some window cleaner and a towel. As I did not have any silicone spray right now, I use some fine mechanics oil to lube the cartridge door and make it stop squeaking. Then I wipe away all the excess oil. Now for the NES, this is pretty much it though. I hope the Game Boy will be as easy and as quick as well. I removed the strip of tape that held the cables of the Switch in place and replaced it with a new one before I reassemble the console. The Game Boy, the first real multi-game system that fitted in your early 90s jeans, right next to the wallet that was safely secured with a thick metal chain, right? Again, disassembling is easy as they use simply Phillips screws. There are two PCBs that are connected via a ribbon cable, so carefully remove that, avoid using a screwdriver as you may puncture it. I never opened this thing up before, so those fingerprints are still from the manufacturing line. They probably were pretty short on time to get those things out running due to the huge demand in 1989. So no time to let any resin dry, just smash those things together. Other than the NES, this thing yellowed pretty much, so I decided to take out all the metal parts, preparing the shells for some Retrobrite. The AC shield comes off pretty easy too. For the battery spring holders, they are clamped in place, so I have to carefully bend back the latch and push them out. It's pretty satisfying to scrub over the embossed writing on the back and see how finally all the little dirt particles that I got so used to over the years comes off. Now at this point I wasn't too sure about removing the screen window or not. I keep it up and decide last minute if I take it out or not, if it is not too difficult removing the old glue. On some spots I needed some baking powder to scrub off some stains. Then this time I thought I should maybe try to only use OxyCleaner with some hot water to bleach out the yellow. So I soaked the parts in the solution of about 8 scoops of OxyCleaner and some very hot water for a couple of hours. By the way, before I did this, the screen window just fell right out, so no more thoughts about that. I just cleaned up the sides of some glue residue. Now, funnily, this procedure worked great on the battery door, but only on the battery door because it did nothing at all to the rest of the case. So I have to go over to the usual by using some of my
nuclear Retrobrite.
And sure, that worked out pretty well. If you want to know what
nuclear Retrobrite
is, check out my last attic finds video from last week or click on the link on the upper right corner. Well, those parts came out perfectly and look much better than before. I now need to place back the front window, therefore I first mask off the edges of the housing, as I will use some spray glue for this. A simple piece of rolled up paper will avoid any glue from leaking into the little LED indicator punch-out hole. I give it some short sprays by quickly moving the spray can to avoid any hot spots of glue. Then I place back the cleaned original plastic window, gently weighing it down with something not too heavy. After 30 minutes the glue has dried up and I can remove the masking tape. And besides some little minor scratches, this looks brand new. The latches of the battery springs have to get bent back again to snap in place. Be careful to not break them off. By the way, I had them sit in some vinegar overnight to get rid of any oxidation and old battery acid. The actual reassembling process is easy, but if you're not sure if you have fitted all your parts correctly, take some photos or videos while disassembling it. Now, as there are lines missing on my screen, I will try to repair this, and here is how. I remove the little rubber placeholder and remove the double-sided tape first. Switching on the Game Boy brings up the contrast to 100%, so it gives us a better view of what we are doing. Then with a soldering iron I heat up the spots right underneath the faulty line, slightly moving it around. With a bit of luck, the solder underneath this ribbon foil will reflow and reconnect the broken link. The foil is pretty heat resistant, but do not overdrive it. Let it cool down every couple of seconds, and don't make the mistake as I do here by not cleaning your soldering iron and ruin it with some solder residue that was still on the point of my soldering iron. Well, in my case I could bring back to life some lines, especially on the left, but on the right there is no real hope anymore. The gap in these tracers might be just too big, or maybe there's another issue with it, I don't know. So I called it quits and leave it as is. I replaced the double-sided tape and glue back in the rubber gasket before cleaning both the screen and the window and putting them back together. So I put back the PCB into its housing. Carefully reconnect this ribbon cable and screw everything back together. And yep, it works. Even the right of the screen is not. I think I did a pretty nice job on both of these relics and spent it some hours instead of playing all of my old favorite games. I hope you enjoyed this episode. If you did, engrave me a comment below, thumbs up and share. And please subscribe to my channel, that would be awesome. See ya!